Hi, my name's Eric, welcome back to my channel. Let's talk once again about Madonna. Today I'm going to react to and analyze 3 more Madonna music videos that you requested. Those music videos are in chronological order: Human Nature, The Power of Goodbye, and Hollywood. Before I dive in, let me know in the comments down below what Madonna music videos you'd like to see me react to next. Check the description box for a link to a list of nonprofits you can donate to. Please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week, and hit the bell icon to be notified when my videos go live. Without further ado, the first music video I'm going to react to is Human Nature.
Express yourself, don't repress yourself. Express yourself, don't repress yourself. Express yourself, don't repress yourself. It's human nature. It's human nature.
Okay, they're confined in boxes. Oh, I love the contortion and body poses, that is so cool. The irony of it being censored. Interesting that she's bound but still at the center. This is really cheeky, no pun intended. Oh, that is such a cool set. And of course, symbolic. No, be nice. Oh, that is hilarious. That was an interesting pentagram moment.
Absolutely no regrets.
I really enjoyed that music video. It had such a great sense of humor, and I really enjoyed the visual style. The stark black and white I thought was super effective. That was great. I was thinking about what would be controversial about the video at the time of its release versus now. I think the elephant in the room today is the fact that she is wearing a protective hairstyle throughout the video, a black hairstyle. Madonna is known for wearing clothes and hairstyles and other aesthetic elements that are adopted from different cultures. I'm not here to be an arbiter of appropriation, but there definitely is a correlation between her wearing a black hairstyle and performing an R&B hip-hop influenced song. But I think what would have been more controversial at the time is the sexual elements of the video. Of course, this was post-erotica, so she had already made some headway in destigmatizing sexuality in music. But of course, this is a bit edgier with the bondage and spanking and all of that sort of stuff. So I do wonder if at the time there would have been, more uproar about this, or if it would have just been like, there goes Madonna again. I'm trying to look more closely at some of these shavings in the back of her dancers' heads. I did see fear before. Now I see, I think, envy. So to me, these are, I guess, things that could go wrong in someone's life or someone's sexual life, romantic life, personal life, these flaws that come, I guess, in part from the shaming that Madonna talks about in the song, and the shaving works to very directly symbolize how those feelings are always in the back of our minds, except of course they're in the back of these heads. There's a motif in the video of constriction. We have her literally being bound with ropes, and we have her and the other dancers in these boxes. And of course the expression tiny little boxes refers to confining social roles. So she and these dancers are, of course, resisting those norms and those boxes by punching them and trying to squeeze out of them and things like that. But also in that scene where she is bound by rope around the 2-minute mark, what's significant is that she still sort of has the upper hand positionally. It's really nicely composed because her 2 dancers are on their knees, and so she's sitting in this chair and she should be in a sort of submissive position, but these 2 masculine dancers are catering to her. They are physically lower than her. To me, this brings to mind a few arguments around sex, and specifically around this sort of presentation of it. A lot of people who have a more reserved or modest view on sexuality feel like displaying it in this way is degrading, and they particularly think that anything that involves violence or taboo of any kind is degrading, but she is visually telling us she still has the upper hand, and then later in the video, of course, she takes on a more overtly dominant role, so she's saying, no matter what position I may appear to be in, I am always in control. And then as the video goes along, we have these elements of freedom and liberation and confinement and constriction coming even more to a head with this contrast between Madonna wearing this mask that looks like it's made out of like plastic or silicone or something, and it's very claustrophobic looking, while she is still in that box. So again, she is constrained. She, visually looks like she can't breathe because of how confined she is. And then we also have her in this underwear set. So she is as free, almost as free as she can be visually. I don't know how intentional this was, but when she's doing that choreography with the dancers with the ropes where she is sort of bouncing around on them, there was a moment where a 5-pointed star came up. So again, it could be her saying, that she is a star, she is at the center of attention, or it could be sort of a nod to the pentagram as an image from witchcraft and sort of playing off of this, I guess, religious paranoia that a lot of people have towards celebrity culture and towards sexual liberation. I don't know if the chihuahua is symbolically significant, but I thought its inclusion was hilarious. This video in general was really funny and tongue-in-cheek, while still definitely being progressive and edgy and very clear in its message of liberation. And as always, if there are any other elements that I didn't mention or interpretations that you would like to offer, feel free to do so in the comments. Alright, the second video I'm going to check out is The Power of Goodbye. The cool icy color grading to me relates to Frozen, but it also looks very 90s.
Your heart is not open, so I must go. Freedom comes when you learn to let go. Creation comes when you learn to say no. I was your fortress, you had to burn. There's nothing left to try. There's no greater power than the power of goodbye.
It looks like she's winning. Okay. See, but that's cheating, so she didn't win. Are they gonna kiss? Okay, there they go. So much of the video was like this tense build up to that. Oh, we've got another dog. Okay. Oh, is she going to... Oh no. Oh no! Okay, wait, she's back. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Cool. Definitely lives in the same visual world as Frozen with these sort of vast landscapes and the very cool color grading. There's a lot of great symbolism going on here. The first thing I want to talk about is the chess game. Chess is often used, or I guess board games in general, in movies and TV shows and books as a sort of symbol of a conflict between characters and how they manage it. Like if one character wins a game, then you can imagine that they have the upper hand in the power dynamic between them. The first movie that springs to mind is Crazy Rich Asians, when the main character plays, I think, mahjong with her mother-in-law, and she wins, which shows that she now has prevailed. And while I can't exactly analyze the particular pieces that they chose, I did see in a sort of overhead shot that Madonna's pieces were farther on the board than her lovers, which did tell me that she was on track to win, that she had the upper hand in the power dynamic. Another detail also is that in the song, she describes herself as her partner's fortress, and so much of the game of chess is built conceptually around the sort of prototypical medieval kingdom with knights and kings and queens and castles. And in the game, a castle is a defensive piece, and a fortress, of course, is a mode of defense. So it's interesting that within the game, she is on the offensive against her partner. It's turned from a protective relationship to one where she is potentially hurting him. But even more generally, the only frame of reference we have visually for this relationship is chess, which is a game. So she's saying that the relationship is defined by its being a game, and then when she swipes it off the table, she's saying she is done with this game. She doesn't want to work within these rules anymore, within, again, these tiny little boxes that are set up for her. She's ready to break out of it. And then we also get this from the body language between her and her partner, because he grabs her by the shoulders and pulls her in for this kiss, and then she pushes him away. And then we see her walk out onto the beach, and the first thing she does is kick off her shoes. That's another pretty common image of liberation. Kate Bush uses that image in the song Hounds of Love. She says, "Take my shoes off and throw them in the lake." Kicking your shoes off is the thing that you do when you get home and you want to put your feet up after a hard day's work. So it's just another instance of her breaking out of the confines of this relationship. And then, of course, the biggest, most dramatic thing in the video is this implication that she might be walking into the ocean to drown herself. Of course, we don't know for sure whether she does it or not, so this offers a lot of interpretive possibilities. I talked about this last week in my reaction to Mariah Carey's album Daydream, but the ocean and the tides as an image represent fate, so she is saying that fate is drawing her away from this lover. She's being washed away with the tide. It is just the natural course of events for this to be over. She's also looking out at the ocean from the coastline, and she sees the horizon, which again represents this sort of future of freedom and possibility. So she has this freedom in leaving this confining relationship. Water is cleansing, so we could have her being cleansed of a love that is wrong for her. If she is dying of her own volition, then again, the thing that is dying is this love. It's hurting her too, but it's the decision that she's making. And we do sort of get these conflicting indications at the end of the video as to whether she did or did not go through with it. On the one hand, there are these other shots that sort of take place outside of the story where she's singing to the camera and she's surrounded by these curtains that are billowing like water and waves. And more specifically, at the end of the video, after she disappears from the shoreline, it starts to be distorted in a way that looks like it's underwater, which could tell us that this is like her post-mortem telling us this story. But then we also have her in the literal story at the end of the video, sort of crouching and wrapping her arms around herself. So this could just be her, cold and alone. Just like her partner grabbed her by the shoulders, now she is grabbing herself by the shoulders, so she has to be her own substitute for love. Also, the lighting is really cool in these shots of her on the beach, and the sky looks really beautiful, so visually another really striking video. Okay, the third and final video I'm going to watch is Hollywood.
Everybody comes to Hollywood. Don't wanna make it in the neighborhood. Shine your light now.
Ooh.
This time it's got to be good. There's something in the air in Hollywood. The sun is shining like you knew it would. Everybody comes to Hollywood.
Ooh, okay. That is a look. Definitely a class-related story going on here. She is very limber. Ooh, oh, needles. Ooh, oh, that was sinister. Ooh, did not like the hands around the neck. Oh, okay.
Push the button, don't push the button. Trip the station, change channel. Change channel.
Oh, interesting. I think that's what was on the little TV, so got a little meta at the end. Okay. Oh, I have a lot to talk about. So the first thing we see in the video is a sort of flat graphic print of the Hollywood sign on the wall with a shadow of Madonna cast onto it. So we literally have this fake cartoon image of Hollywood and just a shadow of the person who tried to make it there. Looks like it's getting a little bit bright. Should I close the curtains? Did that help? Is that good? How are we feeling? And then we have Madonna in lingerie sort of straddling this TV with another image of her on it. But perhaps even more importantly, in this first scene, Madonna's head isn't shown. It's just her body on top of this TV. So first there's this uncomfortable quasi-erotic relationship with seeing yourself broadcast on TV, and also the depersonalization of being just a shadow, not having your head in frame, being just a body in lingerie with a diamond necklace. There's also something grim about what's being shown on the TV because we see it later at the end in more detail, but it's Madonna in this trench coat standing in the middle of the street, and it's intercut with these images of LA traffic, which on its own is morbid enough, but in reality I think she's just trying to hitch a ride. But what ends up happening is she is exasperated in the middle of the road and can't get anywhere, which maybe itself is symbolic of trying to make it in Hollywood. Another thing is a lot of these scenes are set up as photo shoots. We see a lot of flashing lights, but we never actually see the photographers. And because of that, it starts to make me doubt whether there is actually someone behind the camera within the story. Like in the scene where she is wearing pink and has this really cool red wig, she is in what looks like a mirrored dressing room. Like if you've been to a department store or like a luxury store, there will be this set off section in the dressing area where you can see a full body view of yourself, get up on a little pedestal and have these mirrors surrounding you. And she is on one of those, and so we see her looking in the mirror and posing, and we see these flashes, but we never actually see the photographer, which makes me think like she is this LA transplant going to Macy's and trying on their most expensive items and a feather boa and just imagining herself as this superstar, like it's a delusion. But mirrors are also a motif throughout the video. We also had mirrors in the music video for Human Nature. Again, it can be a lot of things. It could be about identity and a false sense of identity, an obsession with the self or with your own image. That also can work with the many mirrors surrounding Madonna in the pink scene, because if you have typically a multitude of mirrors or a shattered mirror in a movie or TV show or anything like that, it'll on some level represent a shattered sense of identity. This also makes sense with relation to the Madonna character who is sitting on the TV with herself being on TV. It's like a projection of herself into something that's not real. We then have Madonna as this sort of Marilyn Monroe looking character with a housekeeper standing behind her, sort of looking envious, plastered against the wall. Madonna almost teasingly caresses her face. It's very, very odd. There is something to the dynamic between Madonna as this wealthy blonde character and the housekeeper character. I don't know exactly what it is. It definitely has something to do with class. I mean, just in terms of the blocking, we either have the housekeeper behind Madonna against the wall, or kneeling in front of Madonna, where again, just like in the Human Nature video, Madonna was sitting but the other characters were still below her. Here, the same thing happens where she's reclining in this chair, but this maid character cannot be above her. She has to be on her knees for her. Probably the general implication is just that Hollywood is part of a broader system that exploits people on the basis of class, just like it exploits people on the basis of their gender and their sexuality and all the other things that Madonna is portraying in this video. And beyond just having Madonna literally stretch herself in all these different positions to show just how badly she wants to make it in Hollywood, we have these very physically invasive scenes too. The most obvious one being the Botox injection scene, which is just so, oh my gosh, uncomfortable and cringe-inducing. But it works because, like, what is more strongly symbolic of fundamentally changing yourself as a person in service of this industry than having someone insert themselves into your body to change it so that you can fit these expectations? And I'm not shaming anyone who wants to modify their body or have Botox or anything, but she is very clearly in this video in a position where she is uncomfortable with a lot of these things. There's the scene with the hairdresser where she's having her hair teased and she starts pulling away and saying stop, and she's obviously uncomfortable. And then there's the scene where she is in the bright pink lingerie, and the disembodied male model has his hands around her throat, and it is just oh, that was a lot. And that's such a reversal of the situation with the blonde character, right? Because blonde Madonna was reclining and was still in a power position, but this Madonna with the red hair is supine on this, like, I don't know, this bench and totally vulnerable to this other person. Stripped down, hands all over her. And again, you can make that comparison to the Human Nature video, because in that video, she also stripped down, she also had hands all over her, but it was always clear that she was in control of herself, that she was autonomous, that it was consensual. This, is still consensual, but it feels like it's not. She feels disembodied and disempowered, and it's disturbing. And I do think there is something to these different wigs, where blonde Madonna represents a Madonna who is in control, and redheaded Madonna represents a Madonna who is striving so hard to get there and is sacrificing control. Specifically because blonde Madonna is the one at the end who unplugs the TV, who says, you know what, let's cut this, turn out the lights, stop taking pictures, I'm done with this. I think this video expands on the song in a way that is really effective. I think the song itself was intentionally very vague. It only just gestured at the things that are wrong with the Hollywood system, and this actually shows us, which I think is excellent. It might be a bit much to call it Lynchian, but it's definitely off-putting and unsettling in a way that I think was totally intentional and super effective. I don't think these are things that we don't already know or assume about Hollywood, but again, it's Madonna's charisma and this visual style that is so exaggerated that makes the video so distinctive. And if we're drawing connections between these three videos, I think what Madonna is grappling with between, 1994 and 2003 is this feeling of confinement and wanting to be free. And we had that theme as a common thread throughout these three videos. And I think it's also clear from these videos that romantic and sexual liberation doesn't just mean acting in a way that is romantic or sexual, but also in a way that is fully consensual, fully autonomous, and fully of her own volition. Hollywood sort of suggested to us after these other videos that if she is on display in some way, the question we should be asking is the level of agency that she had over the decision to display herself that way. It's clear in particular from the Human Nature video that portraying herself that way is liberating, and she was in control of it, which means that it's empowering. But we also know that because sex sells, there's somewhat of a lack of control on some level when it comes to commodifying romance, sexuality, and the body. I don't think these videos or any of Madonna's videos close that question completely, and that's intentional. There is no way to, because this is an ongoing issue, but I think that they at least encourage us to be conscious of that. So thank you so much for recommending that I watch these videos. I really enjoyed all three. I think my favorite is Hollywood, mostly because personally I enjoy when music videos are a little bit disturbing, but I think all of them were excellent. And as always, let me know in the comments down below what music I should react to and what other topics you'd like to see me cover on my channel. Check the description for that donation link. Please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you are staying safe and healthy, and until next time, that's it.